Welcome to the bar, come on and pull up a seat and open up your Bible, what a wonderful feast. The living bread, and we're discussing what it means for the streets, the inner cities and the burbs, and every person we meet. This is where we challenge worldviews that we hear from world news. In light of the scripture, we are here to serve you. We're your source for resources to help you on your way as you battle mean forces. This is for the people who can see the importance of sound theology and the scripture that support it. And this is for the truth lovers, biblically reforming, preaching Christ to the nations. Yeah, welcome to the modern Reformation. Yeah,
the bar, biblical and reformed. Welcome everybody to the bar. It's your boy Dwayne in the building, right back in here another Tuesday. Super excited as always to be coming through your speakers, through your earbuds, wherever you listen to the bar. We're grateful that you are listening. And we love to start every show out by thanking the listeners. Thank you guys for listening to the bar, rocking with the bar, rocking the bar stuff, man. I'm so appreciative to everybody that's repping your favorite podcast. And if you're thinking like, what is this bar stuff you're always talking about? You can go to thebargear.com, pick you up t-shirts, hoodies, beanies. I'm actually running what I call the SDG collection. The Sole Deo Gloria collection, really nice hoodies, mugs, and now sweatpants. So make sure you go and check that out. And like I do every week, I bring you awesome guests. These young men I found through Instagram. Immediately became an instant fan because when I saw the guest list, because I'm very proud of my guest list, but when I saw their guest list, I was like, these guys must be up to something really good, man. So I have on the guys from the podcast GGG. That's what I'm gonna call y'all, Triple G. But I have on my brother Peter and my brother Nick. How y'all doing today?
We're doing good. How you doing?
Good. So I am used to, I guess you could say, emceeing with two guests. So I'm going to throw it back and forth, call your name and tell you when to do it. So Nick, we're going to start with you, man. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go to Peter next.
All right. Yeah, I live in Orange County. I actually have only lived here for a couple years. Originally from the Northwest, lived in Seattle for a long time. Grew up in Idaho. My family moved down here. I had a kind of an optional business transaction. So I kind of came down here. I work in medical sales. Other than that, like, I'm married and I have a 14-month-old son. Wow. And it was crazy 2020, raising him and going through COVID at the same time and starting this podcast at the same time.
Nice.
It's fun, but yeah, that's kind of my basic background.
Okay. All right, Peter, your turn.
Yeah, born and raised in Orange County. Went to school in Los Angeles, Biola University. Got a Bible degree, 6 years in the fitness industry, ran gyms, did the whole stuff, and that was fun. And then kind of called back to pastoral ministry. In 2019, enrolled at Westminster Seminary, California. So the second year there, and hoping to plant a Reformed church in Santa Ana, June 2022. And so, we started this podcast as kind of a bridge in the gap, giving people good, solid doctrine that's understandable from kind of the horse's mouth, people who know it best.
Nice.
So we've had fun. I've had fun, and we're just learning a lot and working hard.
Gotcha. Well, you kind of went into my next question. What inspired or where did it come from? Whose idea? Who decided to get you guys together? I'll go to you, Peter. Tell me, give us a little bit of the genesis of the podcast.
Yeah. So the genesis is, we talked about it a little bit, but it's a funny story. We knew each other before. We've known each other probably 4 or 5 years, but more specifically, Nick texted me on my way to Orange County right at the start of COVID. And he texted me. We were driving up, and my wife turned the phone to me, and she said, Nick texted you, and I think you're going to want to answer this. And it was, are we at the end of the world? Is the end of the world happening? And I know Nick, and he's not like a jokey person in that sense. Like, he was dead serious.
Right.
And so that started like a lot of conversations. We were talking, almost every night, much to our wife's not joy, but
agony.
I don't know how to describe that.
Agony, maybe.
Yeah, agony. We were like, I thought we were married, not you and Nick. Yeah. So we were talking a lot, and one day, I mean, it was kind of mutual. We was like, we should start recording these things. And Nick had an old iPad or new iPad. And he was like, I'm going to hit record on this while we're on our phones talking to each other. Cause we had no idea how to record a podcast.
Sure.
And that's what started. It was like, we want to introduce these conversations that we think people aren't getting enough of.
Gotcha. So Nick, let's go back to this end of the world thing. I think we need to dig into that. Like, where were you in that mind space, man? Talk us through that a little bit, man.
Yeah, well, I'm the layman of the group, so
sure.
And I'm, if anybody that listens to our show might understand, like I have no filter when it comes to asking questions.
Nice.
Which is good.
That is a good thing because people get get the real deal. So, I've never been to be honest, I never really understood the Reformed doctrine pre 2019, 2020 that well, even though I guess I was in a Reformed evangelical church. And before that, Roman Catholic. I grew up Roman Catholic. And then after Roman Catholic, I was in more of a just kind of your everyday American evangelical type of church. So never really got super deep into theology. But one thing is that I heard about the end of the world is extremely, apocalyptic, scary stuff, which it's a big conversation. So I remember right when COVID hit, and there's a lot of anxiety, understandably so. And I actually was just talking to a buddy at church at the time. This was, back in March, maybe February 2020. I was just like, we were just talking about like COVID, what's going on. And I think he was very much more on the spiritual side, and he explained what was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to somebody that also knows this stuff because this is kind of scary. So it kind of brought up some old anxieties growing up hearing about this stuff. So I was like, who do I know? And it's my buddy Peter. So I texted him, and that's where his story started there.
Nice.
We started talking all the time, and I think my wife was just happy that I finally had a friend maybe to talk to.
That's to talk about some of these things, not asking her about it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm naturally even though I'm a layman, I'm naturally super curious and love theology. Finally found what I was always looking for with the Reformed doctrine.
Right.
And unfortunately, at that same time, I got laid off from my job. So we actually have to thank COVID for starting our podcast. God uses evil things in the world for his ultimate glory. So maybe this is kind of one of those things. And during that time, I got to spend more time with my newborn son and reading up on Reformed theology. So, yeah.
Very cool, man.
And then also another inspirational stuff is the Case for Christ movie, American Gospel documentary, the Bible Project. All those were very big things that were kind of in my mind. And while Peter and I were talking, we're like, man, everyday people need to hear these conversations. So, and he also is having me listen to all the RTS, Reformed Theological Seminary lectures. So I was doing that on my own time while working out and everything.
A little crash course.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So we finally just started doing the podcast.
That is super dope, man. Super dope. I like that story. I'm a layman as well, so I can relate, man. Just being curious and just loving theology, without, it being a occupation or, or I guess vocation. So I definitely relate to you on that, Nick, man. So Peter, tell the listeners, man, let's talk about the podcast. Like, what's the format? Like I mentioned, you guys have had some amazing guests, a lot of people that I've interviewed as well. So that's what made me say, oh, these guys on my heels, man. Yeah. So tell me about the format, man, and just kind of how you guys do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, format is I mean, through kind of the connections we have here at Westminster, asked them and got some contacts, got some emails, and I come from a marketing background in fitness. And so I was like, you know what? Nobody else is doing this as far as I can see. A couple people are, but I emailed, I don't know, 50 people, 50 professors, pastors, whatever.
Yep.
Whoever said yes came on the show. That was the extent of it. And so the first thing was, I mean, we kind of talked to each other, just had a very basic conversation. And then we did the Spark Note Seminary, and we were like, hey, let's get the best to come in, and just emailed them and laid out, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. This is the format. And so I send, we kind of, we come together on questions. So Nick will write some questions. I'll write some questions. And then we send it to the professor, to the pastor, whatever it is, or the author. And then they look through it. Sometimes they research it. Sometimes it's kind of off the cuff. But yeah, other than that, we want a 40 to 50 minute thing. And it's how can we bring these high doctrines that don't leave kind of the seminary context, and don't leave that like high academic context, and have like a breadth of stuff, and not just be like, oh, let's pick something from here, pick something from here. It's more so how can we lay like a coherence, almost like you're at seminary, but seminary for your average person.
Gotcha. And
how can we lay something out where somebody, if they started at episode 1 and go all the way to episode 27, you get a full comprehensive view of, hey, this is what the faith is. So
nice.
That was kind of the format, and yeah, it kind of ballooned from there. And so I started it was Catechism Thursday. Now it's Catechism Saturday. Just some schedule things moved around. And so that was more just getting introduced to the catechisms, the Heidelberg and the 3 forms in Westminster, and some stuff that I think the church just kind of forgot about. We're always like kind of creating our new confessions of faith, and we have these really, really solid, truthful and time-tested confessions,
right?
That really comprehend our faith. So that was kind of the idea in the format, and we want to make it conversational, and it's less so like, hey, let's interview you and talk to you about these things, and you spew back some information. If we were at a bar and somebody was a fly in the wall and we were drinking some beer, it's like that's the kind of conversation we wanted to have.
Nice. Gotcha. Yeah, I like that, man. So Nick, when when it comes to the podcast, man, what would you say is your I'm gonna say your favorite part, as far as like what you, because it sounds like you interview people, you do your regular dialogue, the catechism thing. What's your favorite part? And then so far, who's your favorite guest?
Oh boy, that's hard to say.
I feel like I know your favorite guest, but
yeah, I think my favorite part is just seeing what God's doing. Like,
sure.
Season 1, we were winging it. Like, honestly, if you listen to the first 3 episodes of season 1,
just skip the first 3 and then go from there.
No, it's still good content.
Right.
It's still good content, very raw, and we're just winging it. We had no idea what we were gonna do, what we're doing. We had an idea, like what he was explaining, like the context, like the idea of what we're doing, but we're like, I guess we'll just do this with me and you talking. That was season 1, and it was just kind of me asking a lot of him questions and trying to bridge the gap from Reformed theological understanding to the everyday evangelicals or even non-believers, like questions everyone has that no one's been able to be a fly on the wall. And then season 2 came around, and it was like, let's bring in some guests and have this be a little bit deeper doctrinal and still try to bridge that gap. So my favorite part has probably just been watching the journey and like being really amazed with who's agreeing to come on our show. To be honest.
Like, they really emailed us back and they really said yes. What is going on?
I mean, I remember before we started doing our show, hearing some of these guys' names, reading some of their books. Now we're like kind of like friends with them. It's pretty cool. I would say my favorite guest, that's really hard because I don't want to be a cop-out answer and be like, I like them all. Because
I like all my kids.
They're all so different. But I would say the ones that stick out, if somebody I was introducing the podcast to somebody, and they're like, just tell me a go-to episode. I really think Michael Horton is huge. That episode on justification is like 35 minutes of pure gospel, and it's just punches your heart. So
he got like teary-eyed toward the end too. I remember that.
Good thing we're all audio.
He was feeling it, and we were all feeling it. I mean, there were some tears.
I know. Yeah, yeah, it was good. But man, we've had, because everyone has their own like flavor and expertise. So, but he's really sticks out as a person.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, Michael Horton's a great guy, man. And now I see how you got him, because you're at Westminster. That makes sense.
It's one of my props.
That makes sense, because I reached out to him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm too busy now." I tried to get him to come back. You know, he's too busy now. So I was like, "How did they get him?" But I got it. You're there. No worries. It's all love.
I know his assistant, so that helps.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Look, we're gonna stay in connection, brother, because I got some, you got some. We're gonna make this work. But man, that's really good. I mean, and I hope my listeners, what I love about my show is I introduce people to other people. So the biggest thing for me is to introduce my listeners to you guys' podcast, because like I said, I love what you're doing. I like the direction. I like the idea that you said, "Hey, let's start a podcast." Because that's what I'm always trying to tell people to do. More people need to say that. Yeah. Let's start a podcast, man, because everybody has a different niche. Everybody has a different audience. Everybody has a different take, even though it's the same message, same gospel. But you might want to hear it in, different ways, man. So I definitely got much love and support for you guys, and grateful that you were able to step out and do this, man. So right here, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Lead in Truth podcast, also known as the LIT podcast. Do you know biblical truth? Do you know how to take God's word and apply it to your life as a family when facing the world and the cultural onslaught of lies? Listen now as Brad and Brooke lead you in the truth of God's word.
All right, we're back in here with my new friends. My man Nick, my man Peter. On this side of the show, this is the B.A.R signature questions. We're going to toss them back and forth. These are 3 questions I ask all of my guests, no matter who they are. So the first signature B.A.R question, I'll start with you, Peter, is what kind of music do you listen to?
Oh man, I'm going to sound like a dweeb, but I listen to classic music.
Okay. Even when you live, classic music, even when you work out?
So, no.
See, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm at home, it's classic and lo-fi.
Okay.
If I'm at the gym, like just being honest, it's hard rap.
Yeah.
Hard rap, rockets. That's like underground. Like, that's what I go for. It's the heavier, the better.
Yep. Yeah. I tell people I can only do squats if somebody cussing at me. That's the only way I can do squats.
Yeah.
I need explicit lyrics when I do squats.
So I cover the range.
Yeah.
Like super calm and just like get at you.
Gotcha. All right, Nick, what about you, man? What kind of music you listen to?
Oh man, I got kind of a boring answer, but I really do like all music. Yeah. My dad was a musician, so I grew up like just listening to everything. But I love '90s hip hop. Mm-hmm. Grew up on that stuff.
Yep,
still has a special place in my heart. At the gym, it's either that or like we both do CrossFit, so it's a lot of loud music. So it's either that or like it's like EDM kind of music during workouts. Mm-hmm. But I also like, I'd say classical music for when I'm like trying to read or study. I love classic rock. Mm-hmm. I would tell you I love country too. But I would say based off of that question, my most recent music purchase, because I own a vinyl record player.
I do too. Yes.
I got old school records. Yeah, you got to get those. I'm convinced the Guardians of the Galaxy the best soundtrack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like what do you call it? I guess soundtracks and movie scores. I like those. You know, somebody put me on that a while back. I always tell people I feel like, you know, action hero while I'm working and I'm listening to one of the Bourne movie scores. Like,
that one or Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, I think, has the best soundtrack.
Yeah, you know, I hit enter. It's like, chin, you know, oh yeah, I done made something happen. Oh, I'm on a computer thinking I'm doing like, you know, undercover secret agent stuff. So I definitely can dig that. All right, next signature bar question. I'm gonna go to you first, Nick. What book or books are you currently reading?
You know, that's actually kind of an easier question because we do the book club and I've never read more in my life. But the current book I'm reading is The Servant of the Lord and His Servant People. It's by Matthew Harmon. We got an interview with him next week. So that's the current book I'm reading right now.
Okay. Nice.
Fantastic.
All right, Peter, your turn. Book or books?
Yeah, this one's easy for me too because it's both school and podcast stuff. But right now, I'm reading Bavinck from Dr. Eglinton. I'm reading Contemplating God with the Great Tradition from Dr. Carter. Doing Modern Theology. This is for another class. Doing Biblical History of Israel. Reading Always Reforming. It's a book that's coming out next month through Lexham from a couple SB Southern Baptist professors. And then I always go through kind of a great books program. So I'm reading the Peloponnesian War from Thucydides.
Nice.
So I like reading kind of the classics too. So both like contemporary stuff and some classics.
Okay.
And then every once in a while, like a systematic. So reading Bavinck and Berkhoff. So that's my diet.
Whew.
It's a lot.
Yeah, brother. No thanks. No, I leave that.
It's like 10 books, 10 books at a time.
I leave that to the scholars. Yeah, for sure. All right. Last signature bar question. I'm going to go back to you, Peter. What podcasts or sermons do you listen to?
Oh man. I mean, I've got a lot. I mean, I've been listening to Reformed Forum with Dr. Busey for a while. I've been listening to Renewing Your Mind for like 10 years.
Yep.
From Sproul. And then I listen to a lot, just regular podcasts. So Jordan Harbinger's show. I listen to that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to Freakonomics. I try to kind of not just stay in the Christian realm. I try to spread out as much as possible. So business stuff and finance stuff. Like TED speeches. I listen to those a bunch. Listen to a couple sermons, not as much though, but yeah, I try to spread it out a little bit.
Okay. All right, Nick, podcasts and or sermons.
Yeah, podcasts. I've been really enjoying the Reformed Raza.
Where's my air horns?
Yeah.
I love those guys, man. They were on my show and they brought the air horns to my show. I was like, wait a minute, this is my show. Wait a minute. You know?
Yeah.
I love those guys, man.
Yep.
Yeah, they're cool. They're right up the road from us too.
Nice. I'm gonna have to text them guys.
Yeah. The RTS sermons, like I was saying, the Heidelcast, Reform
Heidelcast.
Forum.
I should probably say that because he's my professor. You listen to this, you're like, oh, Peter, let's have a talk.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Don't let him bully you, man. Don't let him bully you. Nah, he's great. I love him.
The Steady Anchor is pretty good. Daily Reformation. I kind of dabble around a lot, and I've listened to a couple of yours as well, and so
nice. Okay, good deal, man. Well, that's cool, man. I like that. That's my signature question. Let's say I've asked everybody that comes on the show those questions, and it has followed me everywhere I go. When I'm on other people's podcasts, they ask me those questions, which I think is hilarious. So definitely appreciate that. Well, guys. Man, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your schedule. You guys are on the West Coast, so it's like 6 your time, 8 my time. well, was it 6 or is it 5?
5 our time.
Okay, yeah, 5 your time, 8 my time. Okay, but definitely appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule, coming on the show, responding right away, man. As soon as I saw you guys and reached out, you guys responded.
Good old Nick.
Yeah, man, responding
quick.
Responding right away, and we were able to make this happen, and I'm definitely grateful. So I always like to give you guys an opportunity to kind of close this out, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find the podcast and your handles and all of that before we slide out of here. Either one of you guys can do this. Not at the same time.
If you want to do it.
Sure. Yeah, I guess, our mission again is to bridge the gap to Reformed Christian theology. So how you can find us is, you can go to Twitter. It's the @Guilt Grace Pod, or Instagram, same handle, Guilt Grace Pod. If you're super old school and you don't have social media, you can email us if you want.
Yeah.
guiltgracepod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can just go on iTunes and subscribe to us, because we have an episode. So this is where it gets worth explaining, to have the platform to kind of explain this, because we have a lot of episodes that come out. So Mondays are more of our doctrinal type episodes. Right now it's season 2, Spark Notes Seminary. If you look back, season 1, we didn't really have a name to it. Just was basic stuff. On Thursdays now, we are doing our book club episodes. So those are more of like, we got a book to review with the author. We talk about specifically the book and what's in the book. And then on Saturdays, Peter does his catechism.
Wow. 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's quite a bit, but we're trying to produce while we can.
Hey, no, that's fire, man. That's fire. Well, definitely hats off for you guys doing 3 times a week. I much rather spread them out, But that is awesome, man. Thank you guys again for coming on the show. Definitely, glad for the connection and glad to connect my listeners to you guys. We'll have a link to their social media and to how you can find their podcast in the show notes. So make sure you check that out, listeners. To all the B.A.R listeners, thank you guys for listening to the B.A.R podcast. Check us out every Tuesday, your favorite podcast. Make sure you go to thebarpodcast.com. Also, go to thebargear.com, pick you up some B.A.R gear. And if you want to be part of Inside the B.A.R, the VIP, only $5 a month, get you exclusive content. Make sure you sign up for that. And until next time, guys, God bless, and we are out.
There's just something about getting away to the Smoky Mountains. Step out on a hiking trail, zoom across a zip line, splash at water parks, shop till you drop, and say hello to the statue of our hometown hero, Dolly Parton. Discover the thrill of visiting the Smoky Mountains and reconnect with those you love the most in Sevierville, Tennessee. Learn more at visitsevierville.com. That's visit SEVIERVILLE.com.
Meyer brand snacks promise the great value you expect with a quality guarantee in every bite. And summertime snacking is our most favorite snacking season of all, because Meyer brand makes it deliciously easy. From new lemonade flavors to classic ingredients for backyard s'mores to creamy ice cream varieties like new limited edition Purple Cow by Meyer Very Berry Americana with ribbons of real strawberry and blueberry swirls waving in creamy vanilla ice cream. Stop into Meyer and discover big taste and bigger savings on Meyer brand summertime snacks.